Spring Creek Model Trains is hitting the road and taking scale signs along for the ride. The signs that bring your models to life can now be found in Deschler, Nebraska, and at nearly 100 train shows throughout the country. Michigan and Texas, you're up. January 17th and 18th, Spring Creek Model Trains will be at the North Texas Council Train Show at the Plano Center in Plano, Texas, and at the Great Train Show at the Suburban Collection Showplace in Novi, Michigan. And to see more of the largest collection of handcrafted scale signs on the planet, head to scalesigns.com. Stop. Don't lay another piece of track on your layout until you have a RailFlow track alignment guide from Oak Hill Model Railroad Track Supply. Whether you're forming curves, testing layout fit, or hand laying rail, the RailFlow track guide ensures accuracy and simplicity. Now available in N, HO, and HON3, RailFlow track guides eliminate misalignments and wobbly track lays in both straight and curved track. Order your RailFlow track alignment guide today at ohrtracksupply.com. ATLP Extra is our monthly newsletter delivered right to your inbox each month. Sign up for free at atlpextra.com.
Hey everybody, Engineer John here with Maggie the Railroad Circus Clown, and we're here to tell you...
It's showtime! The Railroad Hobby Show, North America's largest train show.
Over 50 operating model railroads, 400 exhibitors, 4 buildings full of all things railroad.
Plus clinics, demonstrations, special celebrations, and me on stage with Cece.
The Railroad Hobby Show, inspiring, educational, and entertaining.
And don't forget to bring the kids, like she said.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Around the Layout, where model railroaders come to tell their story. My name is Ray Arnott, so glad you could join us. It's time to talk about the granddaddy of them all, the big railroad hobby show in West Springfield, Massachusetts. One of my favorite times of year, and it's one of my favorite times of year because we get to talk to the engineer himself. He was Conductor John, promoted up to Engineer John. The second most popular at the Railroad Hobby Show, other than Maggie the Circus Clown, that'd be John Sacerdote. John, good to see you.
Hi, Ray. You got me laughing with that intro. It's great, and I think you're right, though.
Yeah, I think it goes Maggie the Circus Clown, John Sacerdote, and I don't know. Everybody can fight over third place. It fades after that. So, no, it's great to see you. I know this is your extreme busy time of year. About the time Santa Claus does his rounds, I know things are really ramping up on your side, and I know they've been ramped up because I know you've got an action-packed event January 24th and 25th at the Eastern States Exposition, our favorite place to go for model railroading at the end of January. So can't wait to dive into that and hear what you got planned for 2026.
Oh, lots of stuff, lots of new stuff, Ray. I sit with our director of PR and marketing, and we sit there and we say, what can we do this year that's going to make it even more exciting than last year? So we actually sit there and try to outdo each other. So we've got a couple of new surprises, which I'm prepared to talk about as we go.
Awesome. Well, let's get to some of the basics about the Railroad Hobby Show. Let's talk just a little bit of history. We've talked about it in the past, but it's always good to reflect and kind of know where the Railroad Hobby Show started and where it's come from, its roots. Why don't you just give us a little synopsis about the Railroad Hobby Show and really how it's become such a, I guess, the bucket list event, right? It's the one that everybody says they got to go at least once to.
You're right, Ray. It is the bucket list show. And I'm not making that up. I'm hearing that from everyone. It is the granddaddy of all shows. There is no show larger in terms of population, in terms of square footage, in terms of the volume of dollars spent at this show anywhere in North America. And we've got some facts and figures to prove all of that. The easiest one is the amount of square footage that is available at the Big E. That's just about 350,000 square feet. I know of no other show that has that much square footage. But couple that with a little bit of history. And we're talking, oh gosh, way back in the early 60s, if you want to start at the beginning, bunch of college professors, grad students, UMass, Amherst, Smith College, and Hampshire College, Amherst College, all the colleges that are up there, Mount Holyoke. And you're talking about guys sitting around saying, hey, I didn't realize you had model railroads. And yeah, I do too. And they overhear each other. And all of a sudden they said, let's have an event where we all bring our stuff in. I have a lecture hall. We'll use that. And we can all see what everybody has. Well, that word, to speed this up a little bit, that word spread. And before you know it, they're in the student union building and they're asking for $2 donations. And that outgrew itself. So they decided to move down to the Big E 40 plus years ago. They took the New England Center, which was about 15,000 square feet, and outgrew that within 2-3 years, moved to half of the Better Living Center, outgrew that, took Young, took Stroh. I came along. This is my 23rd year, by the way. Wow. And we took all of Mallory, first just the front part of Mallory. And then as we grew, we took as much of the Mallory South, as we call it, as we needed. Well, now we take it all. And here's a real funny statistic. But if you think about it, you can figure it out right quickly. Maybe 10 years ago, we had 420 or so exhibitors. This year, we have 395 exhibitors. Yet the show is still full. And people are very quick to say, yeah, that's because people want more tables. And I that is exactly the answer. So what's funny about that is, if you want to be silly, you could come down to one of these days, there's going to be one exhibitor at the show and they're going to fill all 4 buildings.
It's going to turn into like Con Expo where you got like Caterpillar and John Deere just taking up, acres of room. You'll have like 2 exhibitors. And exactly. I sure hope not. That won't be healthy for the hobby. And I want to dive into it for just a moment because I know those 395 exhibitors aren't just the first 395 that have signed up. You put a lot of effort into making sure that there's a wide variety at the Railroad Hobby Show. And I think that's what makes it so special too. You're not going to go there and see the Elvis records or the knickknacks or non-related railroad stuff. This is a Railroad Hobby Show through and through.
Yeah, I actually had some people say, look at some of my collection and a lot of the new exhibitors, of which there are 41 new exhibitors. Wow. And it's amazing. Well, we've got a little bit more strict on meeting deadlines. If you don't meet the deadlines, we cancel your contract. But that gives us an opportunity to bring all this new innovation into the show. So there's all kinds of new people. And what's exciting this year is there's all kinds of new people that have collections that they're going to try to get rid of for cheap. So we've got a lot of exhibitors there whose spouses have passed away, retired, and they just want to get rid of everything. So there's some deals to be had here at this show. But there's still 50 plus operating railroads. So it'll be really interesting. So we'll see what happens. And we've got stuff that start on Thursday morning. We have clinics all day Thursday, all day Friday. 30 plus clinics at the Sheridan. And then we have clinics during the show, JMRI updates, women in model railroading, all kinds of things. So, and that's all posted on the website right now, railroadhobbyshow.com. And it's really looking exciting. But are you ready for the big secret, Ray?
I'm ready for the big secret. Why don't we let everybody know, John? What's the big secret?
The big secret is we've rented our own train on Sunday morning. It's going to be a breakfast special. And so from CT Rail, we have our whole train to ourselves, an express train that leaves Union Station Springfield down to Union Station Hartford. We'll feed you a little bit on the way down, but there's a buffet breakfast waiting for you in the Great Hall in Union Station Hartford.
Holy man.
And while that's happening, they actually have to clear the main line because, as most people know, there's only a single track in Hartford. So they have to clear for a couple of Amtrak trains that are going by. It takes about 45 minutes to an hour for that to happen. That's when we're going to have breakfast.
Oh, awesome.
So we have this breakfast spread ready to go. People get back on the train, 35 minutes, because we're not making any stops at Windsor or Windsor Locks. 35 minutes, we're back in Union Station, Springfield. Buses ready to take everybody to the show by 9:30, and you're still a half hour before the show opens.
Wow, what an awesome opportunity to be able to see that historic line and the Springfield line there, again, between Springfield and Hartford. A lot of New Haven history on that. So you get to take a ride down and then breakfast on top of it. So tell us how we get signed up for this thing. This is going to be incredible.
We're going to have tickets. Tickets go on sale this as soon as the new year, Ray. $20. $20 for the whole thing. And we've got sponsors that are privatizing some of the cars. So we've got Scale Trains, we've got Motion Museum and Athearn. They're sponsoring their own cars. It's a 4-car set. Nice. So they get to ask a few people first, but then there'll be extra people. But we have room for 200 people.
Wow, awesome!
So we expect that'll sell out pretty quickly.
I would think so, yeah.
And our aim is actually just to break even. We're not doing this as a money maker. We just want people to enjoy and do something else that's really cool associated with this show.
So is this one of those ideas that you drummed up when you said you have to outdo last year? I think this is outdoing it. So I think you succeeded, John.
I don't. Yes, it is. It was. and I don't know what we can do to top this next year. But I'll tell you, when we start fooling around and thinking about what we can do, you never know what's going to happen. So we're looking forward to it. And this really originated from the fact that we have the Kids on Track program where we had over Halloween, we did 2 runs, one on Saturday, one on Sunday, with 665 kids in costume run down and back. Union Station, Springfield Union Station, one from Hartford, Springfield, back to Hartford. That was on Sunday. The day before Saturday, we had Springfield, Hartford, Springfield. All these kids in costume, it was hysterical, including us. I was in my Engineer John costume, and a lot of our guys were in costume as well. It was simply a blast. So CT Rail said, what can you do? What can you do more? I said, we've got a great idea, but we need our own train. And it took us about 2 or 3 weeks to get clearance through Amtrak, the siding CSX, everybody involved. We're going to park this train at the precise moments and everything. Got all of that clearance, and we're off and running. So it'll be exciting. So watch for the details just after the first of the year. So we need just this coming week or so, depending on when this broadcasts, it may already be.
January 5th. So we're 5 days after the first of the year. So they're going to head very quickly to railroadhobbyshow.com, and I'm sure they're going to find the information there, right, John?
Absolutely. Yeah, it'll be there by the time this airs. So that's cool.
Awesome.
So that's just one of the things. And we've got some guest stars coming too. We've got a couple of people and we'll announce those a little bit later, but we've got a correspondent from the BBC who happens to be a model railroader, and she actually builds model railroads of different types, different themes. She will be there to represent and talk up women in model railroading. And we've got a couple of people from a couple of shows showing up. Of course, the NMRA is going to be there. They have their annual meetings. Hobby Manufacturers Association has their annual meetings and award banquet. So it really is, just like UConn is the center of the basketball universe. Well, West Springfield's the center of the model railroading universe when it comes to this show.
Well, I want to talk just to the naysayers for just half a moment and point this out. The ones that say, hey, it's just another hobby show. And I'll tell you, I'm spoiled. It's right in my backyard. John and I are right here in Connecticut talking to each other. And, so we're very fortunate for the location that we're at. But it's beyond a hobby show. It's an experience. And you just keep tacking on to this experience. It's just not another train show. It is something to see. And in the volume, just the 4 buildings. And I know that, somewhere you would love to have that 5th building put up, because I think you'd be trying to fill that one up too, wouldn't you?
Yes. And we could. I have 283 exhibitors on a wait list.
Wow.
Right. Some for years. And we watch that very carefully because we want that mix. If it's got to do with railroads, it's at this show. And what I mean by that is it's not just people selling stuff. There's between 20 and 24 museums, historical societies at this show. And there's real railroads at this show. So there's something for everybody. Yeah, there's the flea market type crawl on the floor looking through boxes. That's what makes part of the show fun. But every major manufacturer in the United States, Canada, overseas is at this show. So there's something for everybody.
And that's why I like to call it the SEMA of Model Railroading, because it really is. It becomes beyond just the train show. It also, for them, becomes a trade, TRADE show, where all these amazing ideas are being shared. And, these hours before the show starts, there's just so many deals being made and ideas being shared, and even the dinners afterwards. It really is an amazing experience. And if you really want to get to a vendor and get to meet them, your favorite manufacturer, it really is. It's the place to go.
Absolutely. And, I've seen over the years, I've seen more. And I love this part of the aspect of this show, what we do. I've seen more small guys turn successful because of who they meet at this show. A load guy many years ago worked out of his garage. Walters comes up to him and says, I love this product. We need 10,000 units a month. And all of a sudden he has to hire 10 people to make the production. So he actually stopped coming to the show. He said, John, I frankly don't need you anymore.
Yeah, well, that's what's funny. There's a lot of companies I know, and the partnerships that we have here through Around the Layout podcast, and listening to them, and whether they're coming to the show or somebody who sells their product is coming to the show, they've been months ago starting to build up product to get to the Railroad Hobby Show, because they're going to need it. I mean, Absolutely. it is a place Absolutely. To buy product.
It is. And that selling actually happens on Friday. When you think about it, during setup, there's between 3,500 and 4,000 people in the show as vendors. So they're swapping, buying, trading product even before the show opens. So I tell people, you've got really 3 days to sell. So there's really nothing like it. And we can prove that it's working just from the ATM machines alone. There's $500,000 in cash in the 8+ vending machines. And we have them filled Thursday night, and sometimes Saturday they're empty. Yeah. And in the middle of the show, I've got another whole day. And so we go from there.
And that's just cash, let alone these, now in the day and age of the internet and these wireless credit card machines and Square and Stripe and whatever else. There's imagine all the other transactions that are going on the digital side.
From our history, most of our gate was cash, and now it is really flipped in the other direction. 80% of the gate is all credit card transaction now, very little cash now. Yeah. So it's quite a reversal from when I started.
Let's talk about going to the Railroad Hobby Show as a spectator and being able to see the show. And let's talk about prep in ahead of time. I know that you have advanced tickets available. Again, we're talking January 5th when the show's coming out. So I think we got a few more days left if we want to try to get some advanced purchases that'll be mailed to us.
Yes. Yeah. And don't worry about if you don't make it, the deadline about having your bracelets mailed to you. The nice thing about it is you put your bracelet on when you're in the car when you get there, and you just walk right in. If it's past 10 o'clock on Sunday, 9 o'clock on Saturday, just walk right in. But even if you don't have the time to have the tickets or bracelets sent to you, you get the barcode, because we have a separate dedicated line just for people to take their piece of paper or their cell phone, much like when you go to a basketball event or something like that, show them a QR code, boom, they'll give you a bracelet. And that line is separate, no cash, no credit card, separate for redemption of the QR code. And that goes fast. And that area is enclosed under roof. So it takes care of those folks right as well. If it were me, I would order this week, if you haven't already, get the bracelet, because then you don't have to mess around. You just walk right in. And honestly, I'd plan on getting there about 9:20 because there's already 1,000 or so people at the doors at 9 o'clock when we open. And it takes about 15 or so minutes to get that line into the buildings. So if you plan on getting there, the secret is have a bracelet already on your hands or on your wrist and get there at 9:20. Boom, you're in.
I'm going to give a little secret too to those that are going to the show. To get in quicker, you don't have to start in the Better Living Center. There are at times shorter lines. You just go to one of the other 3 buildings and you can kind of get in a little quicker. Everybody seems to go to the Better Living Center first. I guess it's just because it's shiny and big and whatever, but there are a lot of great buildings. You want to see all 4. You don't have to start at the BLC, and you might be able to find yourself a little shorter line to get yourself in quicker.
That's absolutely true, Ray. That's actually more good advice. With all the other buildings, it makes it really easy. And I think that's probably because the BLC was the original building. Yeah. I'm not counting the New England Center, which we don't use anymore because they use it strictly for storage now. But that's probably why that was so. A lot of people still feel that the BLC is the headliner building. To me, having done this kind of thing with computers through my previous life, I would pick, if it were me, I'd pick the young building, but I would start at Mallory and work my way up. Yeah, there's a particular person I'd like to see right by the door in the young building.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Oh, wait, bro, that would be you.
We have our young building people, and we're going to come up with a name, and we just have this young building pride that's going on being, over there. And I love the young building. It's a great spot. Of course, you've hooked me up with one of the coolest spots, again, right by the door, and you can't miss us. We've got great neighbors. We've got White River Productions and Mac Rail and Home Shops. So we're in a really good spot. We like where we're at.
That really is. And I love the young building. If it were me, I would choose the young building to be in because that is the crossroads of all the other buildings. I'll try to do a round about every hour and a half. It takes me about a half hour to 40 minutes to make it through all the buildings, sometimes longer, depending on the crowds. But it's always noticeably more crowded in the young building. And that's because more people cut through there to see what's going on as they head towards the other buildings that they haven't been in.
Let's talk about making a plan, because I'm a big proponent of folks using the resources available to them. Because as John just mentioned, it takes a while just to walk. I mean, let alone see things. It takes a while to walk through the building, and you're going to need all the time you can get. The show's open 9 to 5 on Saturday, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Sunday. You're going to need all of that time to make sure you see as much as you possibly can. And that also, again, takes a plan. Talk about the resources that are available on railroadhobbyshow.com to start that planning, John.
Oh, yeah, really. Another good boy. You're teeing me up with some good questions here, Ray. I appreciate that. But they're important for people that have not really listened to these kinds of things in the past. If you go to railroadhobbyshow.com, if you go to Who's Who in one of the drop-down menus, and then at that drop-down menu, you'll see a map of the building, PDF, and you'll also see a list of exhibitors. It's a 6-page list because of the 395 exhibitors. But you can download the PDF, which is fine, but that's in alphabetical order. Download the Excel spreadsheet and then play, if you know Excel. Play with Excel because you could sort by building, you could sort by area, you could sort alphabetically, you could sort by who's got more tables, that kind of thing. So you could sort it any which way you want, and you can manipulate that list. You could highlight and say, these are the people I need to see, and it'll work like that. So if it were me, I would download the Excel spreadsheet of the list of exhibitors and then start to manipulate it. Yeah. And you can, with Excel, you can bold the ones you want to see, highlight the ones you want to see, then print it out and take it with you.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a great way to make sure that you see who you want. And because I've done it before, I've gone in without a plan. And then you go back and you hear somebody say, hey, did you see the company over there that had this? And I'm like, no, how'd I miss that? And it's easy to do. It's easy to do if you don't have a plan. Make sure you have a plan. Make sure you're getting to the folks. And This is a great segue into letting folks know about the plan that we have to make sure you get around and see the 12 supporters of Around the Layout podcast that have signed up for this awesome contest we did. It's called ATLP Passport. It starts when you get to the Railroad Hobby Show. You go to one of the 12 participating vendors. You pick up your ATLP passport. It has the locations of all 12 on the passport. You go around, you pick up a stamp from each one of them from their customs agent. Now, their customs agent may have you do something like sign up for their newsletter or sign up for their own contest that they're doing. But once you get the stamps of all 12, you're going to bring it back to the Around the Layout podcast booth in the Young Building, section 89D. And that will get you an entry into a drawing we will do on Sunday for one of 12 awesome souvenirs that you'll get to take home, thanks to the 12 participating vendors. So you'll want to make sure you pick up your ATLP passport at one of the 12 exhibitors. You can check out more on that at aroundthelayout.com/passport. And if you want to get a head start, you can print out your ATLP passport on our website. That'll give you a PDF. You can cut it in half, take one passport for yourself, give one to a friend, and get out there and start traveling around the Railroad Hobby Show. You'll be able to win yourself some prizes. 12 vendors are all listed on our website again, aroundthelayout.com/passport. So, John, it's really, just exciting to know that the Railroad Hobby Show is coming. The timing is perfect. I think of the recipe that you have of this show that's just made it so successful. I think it's just the timing, the location. There's just so many amazing things. And of course, all the work that the Amherst Railway Society puts into this every year. You talked about continuous improvement, and that definitely makes it a show that everybody just wants to attend.
It's a lot of fun, Ray. It really is. I've said many times this is my favoriteest time of the year, if that's a word. But
it is now.
yeah, exactly. But it is. I can't wait. And people say, John, when are you going to retire? And I said, I really a couple of years back said, I'll retire. Sometime in the late 20s, and it dawned on me, why would I retire if I'm still having fun? And if I could still get the job done. So, and I am still having fun. I think I could still get the job done. But you always have to be smart about succession planning. So I actually have 2 to 3 guys shadowing me already, and they will shadow me during the show, just in case, and if something, God forbid, happens, or I just change my mind. But the entire show is totally automated. So it's all on computer, even the assignments of tables. And it goes back since I've been doing this. So I get a kick out of someone saying, I used to be in so-and-so space. I said, no, you weren't. Here's the history for the last 20 years. Here's where you were. And they go, how do you know that?
It's all there. Yeah.
Yeah. So I have everybody's history for as long as they've been in a show, as long as I've been around. And that goes back 20 plus years. But for the most part, people are wonderful about where they want to be. And my job as show director is when someone says, hey, I don't want to be next to this guy, or my table overlaps. Can I do something? I'm too close to a competitor. My job is to try to solve every single one of those problems. And this year I could honestly say, with 0 tables left out of this 1,550 tables, I think I've solved them all. But it sounds like oh my God, wow. Nah, not really. Because 85% of the people are the same people. They come back, they love where they are. So I'm just reworking that 15%, or if people want more tables. So it's not as difficult or hard a task as one might think. It's still fun for me. So it works out.
Well, we are so lucky to have you and the Amherst Railway Society. The Railroad Hobby Show is such a blessing, and so it does such a great service for the railroad hobby community, the vendors, manufacturers, like you said, the businesses that have bloomed because of the Railroad Hobby Show in West Springfield, Massachusetts. I know the Amherst Railway Society also does a lot of good with the results of the Railroad Hobby Show. Talk about some of the things you're able to accomplish thanks to the Railroad Hobby Show's income.
Oh, gosh. Number one, first and foremost, Ray, is our formal grant program. We have given away, Now, I need to get a total so I can be more accurate about it, but we are within $10,000-$15,000 of $900,000 that we've given away since 1991. I want to see $1 million before I am no longer associated with the show. But, a lot of expenses first, including our headquarters. All of that needs to be paid for first. And then all the money from the proceeds of the show go towards our formal grant program. So we're able to do that. We're able to do the Kids on Track program and allow all of these kids through a different bunch of train rides out of, thanks to CT Rail, I might add, originating generally from Union Station, Springfield. We're getting kids that have never ridden the train before, riding trains. For next to nothing, for $5, you could ride from Hartford down to Springfield and back, and so that kind of thing. We actually have a program of we will train you on how to have a show. We've done that with Vernon successfully. They've had shows for the last 2 years. They are now ready to take over the show by themselves. While we're helping, we take some of the revenue, frankly, because we're investing some time. And now they're ready to just do it all on their own. And we supplied them with 700 exhibitors, possible exhibitors, maps, time study as far as here's what you need to do by this date. So they've got a complete package of what has to be done by when, based on the last couple of years to make. And they've had 2 successful years of that train show, by the way. And Ray, you've been to that. So we're doing that. We're advising a lot of people. We're doing a lot of things with the New Haven Technical Association, with the Wilcox Train show down in Meriden. All we care about is making this hobby successful. We're not in any kind of competition with anybody. We want everybody and anybody to be successful so we can promote this hobby.
Well, it truly is the spirit of model railroading. It really isn't a competition. It's about cooperation, and a lot of cooperation coming out of the Amherst Railway Society and the fine folks there. And it's always great to hear, we love the Railroad Hobby Show. And, I wish it was 2 or 3 times a year, and you're probably going to throw something through the screen at me for saying that. But we need other hobby shows, and we need other events and ways to come together and gather. And, I'm very thankful that I'm so close to the Railroad Hobby Show, where every year it's a give me, but it's not for everybody. So it's great to hear shows popping up all over the place. And I know you lend your support and your guidance and your advice to pretty much anybody who asks it.
That's very true. We will help anybody and everybody who wants to try to do these things. And speaking of which, other events, this June, the 20th and 21st, we're actually putting on a large-scale show, unlike what we've done in the last few years. This is going to be at our headquarters, outdoors, under tents, featuring our 1.5-acre garden railroad. So we've got a lot more to say about that, but only after we're done with the Railroad Hobby Show. We've got a lot in store, and we're going to try a whole different approach on having fun with large scale, G scale.
And outdoors too, which is very cool. That's kind of a great spot for G scale, right? Take it right back outdoors, and it's definitely cool to see that and a new way of looking at it. So we'll look forward to hearing more about the large scale show further down the line, but Railroad Hobby Show is the place to be, January 24th and 25th, Saturday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., Sunday, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the Eastern States Exposition in West Springfield, Massachusetts. It is a 2-day event. You're going to need all 2 days. Figure it out. I know there's resources on the website about hotels. It may be a little tight right now. You might have to do a little traveling. I'm not sure what the status of hotels is. I know it gets pretty tight around this time of year with people making plans, but it's not an excuse. You can still find a place fairly close and still get yourself up there and come join the fun. It is just so much fun to hang around with all these like-minded folks, and there's a lot of them. What's the door typically? What was it last year, John?
Last year, we had 27,535. It's about 400 more than the year before, 2024. So we've been 27,000 for the last couple of years.
If you can't find a like-minded person in 27,000 people, I'm not sure how I can help you. There's going to be somebody there that you're going to be able to talk to, share ideas with, and be able to spend an awesome weekend full of model railroading and now prototypical railroading if you can get yourself on that train ride. And you can't get on that one. There's still CT Rail and Amtrak runs right into Springfield. So You can get on the train, you can get on a plane, you can get on a boat, you can just figure out a way to get there. Hitchhike if you have to. You got to make sure you get to West Springfield to see this show. John, thank you so much for joining me here as we talk about the Railroad Hobby Show in West Springfield, Mass. I'm so excited. Can't wait to get there. For those listening, make sure you get your ATLP passport at aroundthelayout.com/passport. Come see us. Young Building 89D, and maybe we'll teach you the secret Young Building handshake while you come. So, and John, thanks again for coming along and telling us all about the show.
Thanks, Ray. I always appreciate you taking the time to have me on. Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Around the Layout. Learn more about today's episode, check out past shows, and much more on our website, aroundthelayout.com. Show your support by becoming an operating crew member at aroundthelayout.com/crew. Follow us on social media, aroundthelayout.com/social. And send us your feedback, aroundthelayout@gmail.com. Thanks for hanging out with us around the layout.